In our first story, government statistician Professor Samuel Kwadwo Nyarko says the fight against corruption in the country will continue to be a mirage if the country's institutions are not adequately resourced to enhance the fight. According to him, the corruption fight is being looked at only one perspective without adequately exhausting the pull and push factors, including salary levels of employees. He was speaking at the 2024 Biennial Social Conference at the University of Education, Winneba. There is more in this report.
The conversation around corruption has been so intense that we look at it from only one side rather than the resourcefulness of institutions. I am told that at some point one of our former presidents said the government pretends to be paying public servants and the public servants pretend to be working. How resourceful are institutions so that gradually we can get them to move away from this practice?
Professor Samuel Kwadwo Nyarko speaking about the country's approach to fighting corruption and how the fight could be enhanced. He entreated the academics to influence policy with their research and build data repositories that would make their research relevant to the needs of society.
The pull and push factors of corruption and building complementary data series, which I talked about. This is the time for us as an academic community to take our different policy documents, don't evaluate it from a subjective point of view, evaluate it from the statistical target point of view. And there are very basic things you can do based on that. Did they have statistical targets in there? The numbers in there, can you associate with the numbers in there based on data that sits with your own university, data that sits in other national statistical spaces? Were those targets realistic? Were we able to achieve those targets?
Director for the Institute for Social, Statistical and Economic Research, Professor Peter Kwote, urged the academics to make their research count by making themselves available for the country to tap their expertise.
Oftentimes, academics, we are seen as sitting on an ivory tower somewhere and speaking. The practitioners, etc., also somewhere. We have to bridge that gap. One time I visited the US for a program, a one-week workshop, and the organizer is the special, she's an academic, but it's also the special advisor to the president. So you can see where special advisor on fiscal policies to the president. So you see how academics are used. If you go to the UK, US, all of them, the academics tend to be special advisors, sometimes technical people to those in government. We don't find a lot of that here, and I think we are making a big mistake. We need to correct that. So what you're doing now, for me, is very apt.
The Dean of the Faculty of Social Sciences Education at the University of Education, Winneba, Professor Anselm Komla Abuchi, was hopeful that the conference would offer the platform for networking and deepening research.
Debt service obligation has become a burden on many low and middle-income countries, which has compelled an increasing number of these countries to pursue debt restructuring options from both internal and external creditors. Countries overburdened with these external debt services obligations either increases taxes, issue more debt, or resort to printing paper notes, which has devastating effects on the growth of the economy and the welfare of the citizenry. It is the expectation that this conference will help us to navigate efficaciously through these difficulties towards the stabilization of the economy.
The theme for the conference is bringing the gown to town, governance, society, and post-pandemic adjustments.
Now, the president of the Ghana Blind Union, Dr. David Azari, has appealed to political leaders to consider increasing their 3% share of the District Assembly Common Fund to 4% as political parties write their manifestos ahead of the 2024 general elections. He made this call in Techiman during the launch of the Bono East Regional Chapter of the Union and noted that the upward review has become urgent with the ever-worsening economic condition of its members. Anas Sabit has more.
Speaking on the sidelines of the launch of the Bono East Regional Chapter of the Ghana Blind Union in Techiman, president of the GBU, Dr. David Azari, made a special appeal to political leaders across the country to consider the plight of members of the union by increasing their share of the common fund from the current 3% to 4%, saying that the current figure is woefully inadequate for the over 5 million persons with disabilities across the country.
I am here to make a special appeal, especially to the political leaders. I am pleading with you on behalf of the Ghana Blind Union, on behalf of the persons with disabilities, that you make a special input into your manifestos to help us. What do I really mean? Yes, from 2017, the common fund has been increased from 2% to 3%. We say thank you very much. We are very, very grateful. But if we look into the amount that comes, the 3%, it looks still woefully inadequate or not sufficient for the millions. And if you look at the 3%, it looks really not too much.
Dr. David Azari believed that the increase would help improve the socio-economic statuses of members of the union.
It will go a long way to help us, especially economically.
He was, however, quick to appeal to government to help include members of the union in its employment packages, adding that the biggest challenge facing the Ghana Blind Union has to do with graduate unemployment.
A lot more are wallowing in their homes, doing nothing. After doing all those years of education, they have come home and they are sitting back. It's really painful. So if they can help us again, it's just deliberate employment of persons with disabilities. It will help us, because if we want to challenge with the regular system, we will be thrown out of the system.
Bono East Regional President of the Union, Isaku Jeremiah, on his part, says the Union, as part of its line of programs, is building the capacity of its members to enable them enhance their livelihoods.
Another priority which we have is to help our members equip themselves with skills. We have members, some can weave, some can even hairdressers. We have some people who are even tailors. And we also have other members who can also learn these trades. So it is our ambition to help that these skills that are in our members are enhanced, so that they can also become useful to themselves and their family and Bono East in general, economically.
As Ghana leases its boats towards the 2024 general elections, Isaku Jeremiah says the union is liaising with the Electoral Commission to train members of the group on how to vote without the assistance of third parties on the election day.
We are liaising with the Electoral Commission to train our people at the district levels, so that come God willing 7 December 2024, they can have a smooth election without any interference by any other person who may cheat for the person's candidate.
Reporting for Joy News, Anas Sabit, Techiman.
Now, the William and Muriel Foundation has donated some medical equipment to the hematology unit of the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital. The gesture is to help address the early intervention of sickle cell diseases in the central and other adjoining communities. Founder of the William and Muriel Foundation, William Kwe, expressed the hope that the gesture would add to the quality of service being provided by the hospital.
The medical equipment donated by the founder of the William and Muriel Foundation, William Kwe, is to help deal with the challenge of sickle cell that continues to plague many homes. Mr. Kwe says the support he believes will go a long way to help the hospital and affect many hearts and minds.
Sickle cell disease, and to get to a certain age, and then the mother is blaming the father is blaming the mother, this is your fault. But all would have been avoided if we did an early intervention. We did a test for each parent to see, there's a possibility that you have a child with sickle cell diseases. I've known family members who have very close family members who died. So fortunately, I was aware of this earlier stages. So this is part of giving back to the society to the land that I was born in, and to help out with this plight. Okay, so yes, experience. Yes, I grew up. I left Ghana at a very early age. I lived in the United States, and I had a first cousin. My first cousin had this for 4 or 5 years. You know, even in the U.S. with all the availability of all these intervention, he struggled, and he died at a very early age. You know, and I have some very close family members, young, who are fortunate to be in Europe, North America, who have access to these early intervention methods. So they haven't had any crisis, and they are living like any healthy child. But what about the rural areas in Ghana? Go to not any part in Ghana who have no idea what sickle cell disease is.
The laboratory manager of the Cape Coast Teaching Hospital, Dr. Daniel Edem Azuma, speaks about the equipment the hospital had and how the new equipment donated would assist the hospital.
We have only one that breaks down very often. So with this one, will serve us as a backup, so that anytime the other one breaks down, then we fall on this one. Or anytime you have issue with this one, then we can go back to the old one. So it's actually going to improve on our service delivery in terms of service interruption. With this one, I'm not sure we are going to have any service interruption again. Yeah, with sickle cell conditions in the hospital. Last year, if you look at our annual performance data, it's about 5% of the total cases that we investigated. 5% of the total cases that we investigated were found out to be sickle cell positive. Yeah, I believe that health promotion unit of the Ghana Health Service need to step up their education on a sickle cell condition. Right from birth, you can find out your status. What happens usually is that people get to know their status when they are going to secondary school or they are going to tertiary institution by means of a medical exam. But it's a condition that you can walk to any health facility and make a request, and it will be done for you to know your status or have your results known.
Let's move to the Volta region, and the chiefs and people of Veta have issued an ultimatum to the Minister of Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs along with the Volta Regional House of Chiefs to help resolve the protracted chieftaincy dispute in the area. The ultimatum aims to prompt action and bring to an end the protracted issue that has plagued the area for far too long. Correspondent Ivy Setoji has more in the following report.
The call for resolution comes amidst growing frustration among the chiefs and residents of Veta, who have endured the ramifications of the unresolved chieftaincy matter. The dispute, which has lingered over the community like a shadow, has not only hindered development initiatives but has also strained the social fabric of the area. Speaking on behalf of the chiefs and people, Dusifia Gan of Veta traditional area, Togbi Ashiagbo, the spokesperson for the chiefs, emphasized the urgent need for a lasting solution. The ultimatum demands that the Ministry of Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, as well as the Volta Regional House of Chiefs, engage in immediate dialogue with all stakeholders involved in the dispute.
Our mission is to open the Pandora's box to the public and make a passionate appeal through the press to all the stakeholders, particularly the Chieftaincy Minister, the President of the National House of Chiefs, the President of the Volta Regional House of Chiefs, Shiraj, the Peace Council, the IGP, INIB, IOCO, the Special Prosecutor's Office, and other organizations that advocate for peace and justice to come to our aid as a matter of urgency.
The chiefs and residents of Veta are calling for a transparent and inclusive process that will lead to the right of the apostle so they can have development in the area.
The presence of these two chiefs inhibits development in Veta area. Our roads are very deplorable, thereby taking our people's lives untimely. The collapse of Bata affects us more than any other person. We repeat. Therefore, we demand that the two feuding chiefs be put out of office with immediate effect. Two chiefs cannot sit or rule on one stool. It is a taboo in Bata traditional area. Homes and family have been set against one another. Our youth are confused and do not know whom to follow. This is simply a recipe for chaos.
Some of the residents have also been speaking on the lack of development in Bata due to the chieftaincy issues.
You can resource you can make bona tuna Bata. Kakaya Brahman Bata, never was copper, a he can Bata, a copper praha, a fever develop our Bata. A FIFA can Bata, a copper maha, a FIFA develop our Bata. No, you did not get a touch of Ukra and then you come up for them, Nami could have never if you have Tammy the Kukuba. Kudugato local and me a politician look for them young, not coffee and I'm Fiaveodo, look for more you, the community of woman. Fleshka, a Fiadoka Gabriel Fiabu, Drani Banner, Amarua, Momo Pomney. Odo hospital and I cannot go to your hospital, Odovia, but I had a left dom at Tom Webby Mablo. Alabama will ballet over Pofia Gafia Gamma, Kumema, that young football for the name. Young football for the development affected. Never Castle for Castle to fear over 90s and the Yellow and Marco. I can be sharp if you're over the I affect me football. Some people don't regional household. She's one of getting your name or of your name, your correct one, and all her film.
It is hoped that this ultimatum will serve as a catalyst for constructive dialogue and pave the way for a resolution that benefits all stakeholders involved. Ivy Satoji, Choi News, Weather.
From the Volta region, let's go to the Bono East region, and authorities at the Kintampo Health Research Center are embarking on a study to measure the impact of climate change, particularly heat waves, on the health of the populace. Director of the center, Dr. Kwadwo Nyarko, who disclosed this at the institution's 30th anniversary celebration, said the move is to assess the risk of illnesses caused as a result of increasing temperatures fueled by the recent climate change. My colleague Anna Sabit has more.
The Kintampo Health Research Center, since its establishment in the year 1994, has played a pivotal role in conducting high-quality research that have led to changes in policies both locally and internationally. The facility, which turns 30 today, has for the past 3 decades conducted trials which has helped build the clinical infrastructure and capacity of its staff, turning the center into one of the best trial centers in Africa. Dr. Kwadwo Nyarko is the director of the KHRC. He says the center has in diverse ways contributed in shaping the country's health structure through research.
Mr. Chairman, we chose the theme for this occasion as 3 decades of health impact, global health impact with local hearts. Our research over the 3 decades have contributed to major global and local policy decisions for which we are proud of. I'll just mention a few. Today, we have a malaria vaccine that has come out of our research, decades of research of malaria vaccine in Ghana, and then in collaboration with other African institutions. Today, the first malaria vaccine that was tested in KHRC has been licensed for routine use to prevent malaria.
With the recent climate change in Ghana increasing the risk of illnesses through increasing temperatures, Dr. Kwadwo Nyarko disclosed that the center is embarking on a study to measure the impact of climate change, particularly heat waves, on the health of the people.
Well, there is evidence to show that, yes, there is climate change. The weather is changing, the weather is heating up, and it's likely to affect health. By how much it is likely to affect, we are not sure. But people have modeled and have said that Africa is going to be one of the places where the impact is going to be highest. And so it's important for us to begin to think about how we measure that impact, to think about how we reduce that impact, and also to think about how we mitigate against other impacts like diseases. So that's why we are interested in doing climate change research.
Deputy Director General of the Ghana Health Services, Dr. Anthony Adolfo Ofosu, disclosed that government has resolved in establishing 2 new research centers in the Savannah and the Western North regions to help in researching the disease profiles of the new regions.
Nanano, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the benefit of research to health service delivery is significant. In view of this, I have instructed, that is the Director General, has instructed the Director of Research and Development Division to set up 2 additional research centers, one in the Savannah region and the other in the Western North regions. The 2 new centers will focus on research that is relevant to the disease profile of the new regions.
Regional Director of the Ghana Health Services, Dr. Fred Admakoboatin, says the center has over the years shaped the quality of health of the people of the region, the country, and the world at large.
Mr. Chair, established 3 decades ago, the center has embarked on a mission to not only conduct research, but they have shaped policies. They have enhanced the well-being and help us to address all ills of ill health. And this has been done through groundbreaking research.
Anna Sabit, Joy News, Kintampo.
Now, government is working on securing grants to construct a 600-bed tertiary health facility in the Volta region. The Volta Regional Minister, Dr. Archibald Yao-Lecha, who announced this, said the initiative was guided towards enhancing universal health coverage in 3 regions. He was speaking at the Volta Region 2023 Health Sector Annual Performance Review Conference in Ho.
The 2023 Volta Region Health Sector Annual Peer Review Conference provided a platform for stakeholders to discuss and strategize for attaining the short-term development plan for 2022-2025. The Volta Regional Director of Health Services, Dr. Crisantos Kibio, announced that the region scored 3.8 out of 4.5 on the National Health Performance Table. He indicated that though the region is placed among the best performing regions in the country, it recorded some increase in maternal deaths in 2023.
Although we are performing better than the national target for institutional maternal mortality ratio, our ratio increased from 82 deaths, that's maternal deaths, 82 per 100,000 live births to 97 deaths per 100,000 live births. That's the increase from 82 to 97. That's if you take every 100,000 live births. What it means is that 97 mothers died. There was a further reduction in the percentage of HIV-infected infants born to HIV mothers. If you look at the figures from 2021, they reduced from 4.2 to 2.4 in 2022 and further reduced to 1.9% in 2023. However, the antiretroviral coverage rate, which stands as 58.6% in 2023, requires significant effort to raise this to the target of 90%.
The Volta Regional Minister, Dr. Archibald Lecha, stressed the government's commitment to investing in health infrastructure to ensure quality health care.
In regard, Volta region has been provided with a fair share of health infrastructure, life-saving medical equipment, health information systems, and trained health professionals. The Ho Teaching Hospital, which was established in April 2019, has attracted a mix of highly specialized staff who are now providing advanced specialist care. I'm also happy to whisper to you that some grant arrangements with partners are ongoing to build a new 600-bed tertiary hospital facility in the Volta region to meet the growing health demands of Volta and 2 other regions.
The Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kuma Abuaji, in a speech delivered on his behalf, lamented the country's progress in attaining universal health coverage in 2030.
The service coverage index is currently about 50%, which is said was not good enough. Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News.
Now, 26 deaths have been recorded between January and February in the central region alone, with 315 people sustaining varying degrees of injuries. The National Road Safety Authority has been on the road ramping up efforts to promote safety, urging drivers to slow down and prevent accidents. Central Regional Head of the National Road Safety Authority, Linda Afotianan, says all hands on deck approach is needed to help save many lives during the Easter festivities.
The National Road Safety Authority has intensified its campaign to save lives and property on the roads following the nearly 270 lives that perished on the country's roads between January and February this year. Central Regional Head of the National Road Safety Authority, Linda Afotianan, emphasizes the importance of reducing speed to save lives in this Easter season.
In recent times, we've been recording quite a number of crashes leading to injuries and then deaths on our road. We can typically talk about the one that happened at Asamasa, where about 14, in fact, every occupant of the bus got burnt and not even one single life was saved. And so it is very prudent that we come towards the side to talk to the passengers, talk to our drivers to adhere to the speed limits on the road. And our theme for this year for our Easter program is Stop Speeding, Stay Alive. Our flagship program that we are, or flagship campaign we are embarking on is Stay Alive. And so it is not different from what we are doing this Easter season, where we are saying that stop speeding, stay alive.
Madam Afotianan painted a harrowing picture through the statistics for January and February alone in the central region.
Between January and February, we have recorded 175 crashes, where 315 people have been injured through those crashes, and then we have lost 26 lives on the road. When we compare the same to last year, 2023, within the same period, we recorded 130 crashes, 192 injuries, and then 24 deaths, which presupposes that we are recording about 34 or 35% increase in the crashes compared to last year. We are recording 64% increase in the injuries that we have recorded so far, and then 8% increase in the deaths.
The regional head for the Western region, Victor Kojo-Bilson, highlighted the essence of the collaboration between the Central and Western regions this Easter.
We know the festive season comes with a lot of travel and heavy traffic through towns and major highways. So we are trying to let everyone understand the essence of slowing down, going according to the posted speed limits where necessary, and where it becomes very necessary, we have to go below them because the weather conditions may not be favorable all the time. Passengers will have to understand that they are part of the driving process until they get to their destination. So encouraging drivers to go beyond the posted speed limits has negative consequences, not only for the one behind the steering wheel, but all on board.
Ekwia Frema from the St. John's Ambulance, one of the stakeholders for the campaign drive, called for calm and support for accident victims.
And so when there are accidents, what should we do? Emergencies really happens, but if you take precautions before taking the person to the hospital, it really reduces the death rate. So we are urging everybody this Easter, in case there is an accident, you don't have to just search for the money or the possession of the person, but rather go in to help the person out so that he comes out alive.
Some of the commuters spoke with Joy News.
As a traveler, you need to arrive home safely. I've seen better late than be the late. Yes, so especially as we are entering the festive season, the Easter, I think it starts today. We have to be very careful. The roads are very busy and everyone wants to arrive home early.
Now from our correspondent, we'll take a short break. We are back with more. Stay with me.
My name is Mohammed.
The name is Edwin Official. I am Rafik Salami Wa. My name is Muhammad. My name is Albert Sorry. The name is Edwin Official. I am Rafik Salami Wa.
Now, a professor of mathematics education at the University of Cape Coast has decried how mathematics is taught in the schools in sub-Saharan Africa. According to Professor Ernest Kofi Davis, there are a lot of missing ingredients in mathematics curriculum and delivery in Ghana. Speaking at his inaugural lecture, Professor Davis called for reforms adequate enough to make the learning of mathematics interesting and less difficult. There is more in this report.
The issue of mathematics education has been a major concern in Ghana. Mathematics achievement in sub-Saharan Africa, according to Professor Davis, is relatively low, and that has affected the development of STEM education in Ghana.
Throughout my career as an academic, one thing has engaged me. That is mathematics achievement of students in sub-Saharan African countries, including Ghana, of course. If you look at the map I've projected, this is the map of countries that have student performance mean score of 358 and above. So countries that are performing about okay in mathematics. This is the world map. You see that it looks upward. Well, Africa is not there. Africa is not there. And we all know our story. Ghana attempted trends in international study in mathematics and science twice, and where our performance in each case was so poor that we had to stop trying. So, performance of students in mathematics in countries in sub-Saharan Africa and ethnic minority students has always been described as abysmal as compared to those in developed countries. Studies in Ghana here have shown that competency levels of our students do not provide adequate foundation for opportunities for further studies and professions in STEM-related areas in future.
Professor Davis asks the question, why is the situation so?
Students labeled as weak and eventually excluded from formal education may be so labeled, not because they are weak in mathematics, but because curriculum development and delivery system continue to ignore and deny the existence of local cultural aspect of mathematics. That is the cultural function of mathematics. Ignoring the cultural function of mathematics in curriculum development and delivery has resulted in situations where cognitive modes assumed in the curriculum do not reflect the everyday realities of the student because of the colonial history of mathematics curriculum used in our schools today. Let's remember that we inherited our curriculum from our colonial masters.
Vice-Chancellor of the University of Cape Coast, Professor Johnson Nyarko underscored the essence of the gatherings, such as inaugural lectures in the life of academic communities.
These lectures form a key part of the traditions of the University of Cape Coast, where we create the platform to enable our astute professors to showcase to the university-wide audience their research or their perspectives on issues interest to them. Each lecture provides opportunity for academics to share, among others, their achievements in research, innovation, engagement, and teaching activities before an audience of members of the university community and the general public.
Now, he served the people of Chieftaincy for 35 years. Otumfuo Amoah Sasiriku, until his demise, was a paramount chief of the area who residents say blessed many hearts and minds. There is more in this report.
The Durbar, organized by the chiefs and people of Chieftaincy, was significant. Significant to the extent that Otumfuo Amoah Sasiriku III, who passed on months ago, would be laid to rest. Upon deliberations with the relevant traditional stakeholders, his successor, Otumfuo Amoasa Sreku, formally announced the date for the final funeral rites of the late chief.
Chufumai, any above Funina, Yedi Nidia Cassia, the Maya Hina, Nura, Obadia, Aton Safran is a Omrefi, another day, Ishaya, Anama Mene Abusiasia.
The people of Chufu and all our partners, we express our profound respect to our departed king. I have met with the family and all who matter in the traditions of Chufu.
Yeah, doing a dapotia. You did you make no ever share? Yeah. You didn't come match, papa. Yeah. And an animal is here, Janae. Yeah. A Janaya almost see you know. Yeah. Because he said, say, yes, you are ma. Na Bibi and see. Near the hunting come. Now what do you want? I have 4 Friday Bishimono. I year 2025. The boss of me at Tosumiano. I just 4 bosom anymore. I've been in February. Neither to do.
We have made adequate preparations in order to settle on the date our departed king will go home. A decision has been arrived at. We have settled on the 10th of February to the 16th of February.
Now, Bibia see, young quiet dear. And I know money or my money now use some way. Near who see. Yenya Boboa. In fact, I'm a man and money in Gufom. Now, and this crowing. Young Coffin free baby or Fanning refuge.
Now, the Adan West District Girls Education Officer at the Ghana Education Service, Erica Senanu Sala, has called on parents in the district to stop engaging girls in funeral activities in their various homes. According to her, most girls at the upper primary and junior high school levels often skip school from Thursdays to Mondays anytime there is a funeral in their family. She says the practice is distracting the girl child's attention on academic work and in most cases forcing them to drop out of school due to teenage pregnancy. There is more in this report.
You go to our communities, especially our villages. Our funeral starts Thursdays. That is to some of us. They engage them. Go and fetch water. This auntie will be coming. The house is dirty. Sweep, mop, do this, do that. Saturday, excuse me to say, they are keeping them in their pata. So they are tired. Thursday they were not in school. Friday they are not in school. Saturday they are keeping them in the cooking activities. Sunday they will go to church. Monday, whatever activity continues. And the most annoying aspect is that Tuesday I'm at Lisa. So most of the girls are being kept at home doing such jobs. We are pleading with you. Speak to your people during your meetings so that they release our girls for us. Let them come to school. It is better for them to stay in the classroom and grab 50% than for them to stay at home and grab nothing.
The girl child education officer pointed out that the girls are craving too much to possess things they do not need at this stage.
The girls personally want things they do not deserve, things that are not relevant to them at that stage, which is hindering their education, their performance in the district. They feel they have seen a slave queen who just passed by and was driving. For me, it has always been my prayer that After would never take place again. But maybe that wouldn't be the appropriate way of dealing with those issues. The girls want things they do not deserve at that moment. At the their stage, their brain can do one thing at a time, which is learning, absorbing important things for themselves to help them become responsible adults. Because they have occupied their brains with unnecessary things they do not deserve, the short skirts, the latest iPhone, which they can only operate 0.01 of the iPhone functions. They do not know what is being used for.
Ms. Senanu Salah also advised parents to be more calm with the adolescent girls.
Let's be more calm in dealing with the adolescent girl. What we experienced some years ago is not what is going on now. Because a 10-year-old boy can tell you that if you don't want me to sleep at home, take your house. You and I couldn't say this into our parents' face some years back. And this is what is happening. This is what is hindering our girls from performing in Adam West. We are saying that this time round, education, we are intensifying our school club activities. We're going to engage the girls during our school club activities. And we are pleading with parents. When the child comes home and claims that I'm from a school club, I'm from the girls club, I'm from this and this and that, please, so far as you are in the community, can you do a follow-up and find out whether truly that girl attended the club?
Nesta Kafui Ajuma reporting for Joy News.
Now, the Acting Commissioner of Insurance, Michael Lando, has revealed that insurance companies will soon be required to design and publish their claim processes. He said this is a new directive by the National Insurance Commission aimed at making it easier for insurance customers to make their claims. Mr. Ando was speaking to journalists at the 9th Annual Educational Conference and Exhibition of Insurance Brokers Association of Ghana held at Bolgatanga in the Upper East Region. Correspondent Albert Story reports.
The Insurance Brokers Association of Ghana, IBAG, is an association of licensed insurance broker firms in the country. The association's core mandate is to spearhead the affairs of insurance brokers. IBAG has concluded its 9th Annual Educational Conference and Exhibition held at Bolgatanga here in the Upper East Region. The focus of this year's conference was on improving customer service and educating the public on the importance of signing on to insurance. It was on the theme, Building a Consistent Customer Service Culture, a tool for increasing insurance penetration. Speaking on the theme, the president of IBAG, Shaibu Ali, said, "Bad customer service remains the biggest challenge for the insurance industry in Ghana."
As an industry, we know the challenges we have with penetration of insurance in Ghana. Some of the reasons for the low penetration include disposable income, a lack of disposable income for consumers of insurance, lack of knowledge and appreciation of insurance by the populace, the general economic situation, etc. Aside this, however, one key reason for low penetration is the issue of bad customer service, which is plaguing our industry. In the recently published survey of the Ghana Customer Service Index, insurance placed last on the log of providers.
Upper East Regional Minister Stephen Yakubu, in his address, called on the insurance broker firms to address the difficulties often faced by insurance customers in trying to make their claims. He said it was one of the major issues discouraging Ghanaians from patronizing insurance firms.
Is it about the business alone to make profit, or is also about the clients? We should be able to find a middle ground. How the person who is insuring his car is capable of paying, so that I know that if I insure my house contents, if something happens to my house, then straight away I can pick a phone, call someone, and I will get someone to talk to. Sometimes you call. There's no one at the other end of the phone to pick your call and even to talk with you. In Accra, with this traffic, you have to drive all the way to the office. These are things that I think we should always be mindful of.
Speaking later to journalists, The president of the Insurance Brokers Association of Ghana responded to the minister's concerns.
Significantly, there's been a marked improvement in this because of one, insurance wanting resale. If someone buys insurance from you, the person gets a claim, and you dilly-dally the person, you delay the person will not come to you again. Today, because all the insurance due to competition are looking for business, when there's a claim and it's a genuine claim, they want to pay it fast and get over with it. So it is only when there are difficult claims, the claim is not very sound, there are issues with the claim. That is where delays come, because maybe you want police report, the person cannot provide a police report. You want a medical report, the person cannot provide a medical report. Then there will be a delay in the claim. But when all the documentation is up to scratch, insurers pay in record time. A second thing is that the National Insurance Commission actually have an office there whereby if you have a claim and an insurer is delaying in paying, you go and make a complaint there. The NIC will invite the insurance company to come and explain why they are not paying.
The acting commissioner of insurance, Michael Andor, revealed that insurance companies will soon be required by the National Insurance Commission to design and publish their claims processes.
We as regulators must lay down the regulations to compel them to solve those problems, and we must enforce those regulations to make sure that the companies also do it. It is very frustrating to have a claim and to experience all the delays and all the other things, and that is why in the directive that I talked about, we are now going to require insurance companies to design and publish their claims payment process. So when you go to their office, you will see the step there that if you have a claim, step 1, get this document, step 2, submit it, step 3, come to here, step 4, we will do this, step 5, we'll pay your money. It is there so that everybody will know what is involved in, so that when it doesn't happen that way, then everybody knows there's something wrong. Then if they have to make a complaint, if they have to seek redress, then that can also kick in.
A total of 230 insurance practitioners attended the 4-day conference. For Joy News, Albert Sori, Bolgatanga.
Now, in the heart of Anlo Kingdom, a land rich with history and tradition, lies the practice of Toko Atolia, an ancient practice from the punishment from the days of old. This cultural artifact of the Anlo people, specifically from the 5th landing stage, offers a glimpse into the historical methods used to maintain order and discipline within the community. Ivy Setoji visited Anloga and has more in the following report.
In Toko Atolia, perpetrators of crimes are buried alive from their toes to their necks, with their heads left for birds and other wild animals to prey on. The operation is usually undertaken by warlords, popularly known as the Abafiao or Abadadao, in the vicinity. In narrating the procedures involved in the execution process, the spokesperson for the Awomafia of Anglo, Agbutadu Akumasa, said parents were the key people who handed over their children to their warlords for such punishment in those days. He said the family system was unique, hence any child who tarnished the image of the family faced the consequences of their action. Crude as it may be, some residents believe it is the surest way to bring sanity to the area, while some disagreed as to whether the system can be welcomed back. Sanam Bedra, a teacher and a resident who was born and bred in Anuga, in sharing his views, said the bringing back the system of Toko Atolia is not important, though it may be a way to curb crime. But rather, authorities need to make sure that the bylaws of the localities must be implemented.
Having known about these things or having heard about these issues, do you think with the high rates of crime these days, do you think Toko Atolia, that type of punishment should be brought back into this modern system?
Well,
sometimes I talk of it being brought back. That is, when I notice certain things are not going well. But on the other hand, if it were brought back, maybe I may also be a victim, because I don't know what the category of issues that are classified under the bad things. So it should be, yes, should be brought back. But sometimes no. The no is that, to me, I don't know, I'm a fellow victim. It depends on individual societies to establish their own rules and regulations, to make it a point that this is our society, this is how we want to govern it, not the rules or the general rules that govern the country.
Betagbo Komasa has more to say on the issue, throwing more light on Toko Atolia in the Anglo Kingdom.
When the people migrated from Mochi and settled in Anglo, because of the condition at the time, intertribal wars, there was a need to keep the state safe. And so stringent measures were adopted to keep the citizens loyal to the state and refrain from committing crimes. So at the time of Tobi Ndichi, the 5th Awamafi of Anglo State, who reigned around 1568 to 1594, he introduced what we call the Nyikovu. The Nyikovu is a set of talking drums. One is male and the other is female. The male one is found today at Agovon, and the female one is located at Lashibi in Angloga. Initially, when a debtor, somebody who borrowed and could not pay and had to be punished, they will arrest him, send him to Abadada's court, and if he is found guilty, then they will send him to the Bakute, and then they will bury him alive, with only the head jutting out. This was to comply with the injunction given to our ancestors that they should not spill the blood of their own kinsman. So if they want to kill you, they will not kill you that your blood falls on the ground. Rather, they will bury you with only the head jutting. So when you are buried, then the male drum will sound. We went by night and returned by night. Vinessa Tobe, Vinessa Nobe, Vinessa Tobe, Vinessa Nobe. That is, the child should listen to the advice of the father, it should listen to the advice of the mother. The recalcitrant son should repent. Then the female one will answer, that is, your command is my law. And so when that drum sounds the dead of night, everybody in Angloga knows a recalcitrant child has been buried alive. And then they will be speaking to their sons and daughters to comply with the laws of the land so that they will not end like what happened. So Tokotonia became famous because it was the forest where recalcitrant citizens of Anglo were punished. Somebody would think it's very cruel, but it's a long process because it is for the whole of Anglo. If you are staying in any part of Anglo, in Anyako, in Kliko, in Aplau, when you start to misbehave, your parents will call you and advise you. Crimes like adultery, sorcery, stealing, then being in debt, they'll be advising you. If your parents' advice will not change you, they report you to the head of the family. He will call you and advise you. If you continue, then they refer you to the clan's head. After the clan's head, then you will send to the chief. It means you are very stubborn. If you go through all these processes, you can't change. And bad evil had great influence on the cohesion and the strength of Anglo, because the association was very fragile, that a sin of one person could plunge the whole of Anglo into chaos. So if your son is very bad, you could bring war on the people of Anglo and their neighbors. So parents were even ready to sacrifice their sons to preserve the unity and peace of Anglo. Now there is a well in Tokotolia. After burying you alive, they will go and wash their hands, that your blood should be on your own head, not on their head. And you call Holy Povudo. It's still there now. If you come to Hokototo, you go to where the school on the right side, the well is still there. And that well is very, very important for the Anglo state, because its waters are regarded as very holy and is used for state rituals. If you're having reconciliation rites and a governor, is that water that is used? If you're going to have a water and there's a need for libation, is that water that is used? Any major state festival, is that water that is used to make the libation?
So the question, however, is, should Toko Atolia be brought back into the system? Will the human rights activists endorse this? The central point is, discipline should be the main aim of every society to bring sanity and order in the communities. My name is Ivy Satoji for Joy News, Angloga.
And that's how we end this edition of From Our Correspondent. Happy Easter to you all. See you same time next week. Have a good day.